Now I want to explain about text-based materials and documents available through the internet and libraries as a research fundamental methodology of desktop research. It is going to be a little bit complicated, but if you are studying in the universities, you can have the image from now I'm talking about. Okay, there is a research and there are people who write about the result of the research. Okay, so there are two types of the research papers. First, academic paper, and some people in the master degree and the doctoral degree they submit a thesis. Also, there are some journals, and journals mean like it's not depending on the university, but like you can think like this is kind of a publisher kind of group of the scholars and academic professors, for example. They are beyond the name of university, they are gathering, and every time they keep having the conference and in the particular interest and domain. Okay, so this is academic paper thesis, and usually this is a document produced from the professors or people who are doing research in the universities. But there are some independent researcher as well. Second type of the document is a technical report. Okay, this is a report, not the academic paper or thesis. Report. Okay, so report means there is someone who writing and someone who receive this information report, and you can just imagine that the technical report is a document in the organization. For example, United Nations, they have some project, then they order some academicians and who are knowledgeable, some most of the case the PhD holder, and they request these experts and professionals to research about particular things. For example, how many people are poor in district and why the student cannot go to the school in this nation, what's the percentage of the particular diseases, and something like that. Then like this researcher receive the money and go to the field and take the research. Okay, so and submit to the chief of the organization or supervisor of the organization. This is a particular jobs like in the United Nations. Also, each government, JICA or the USAID, GDZ, wherever, they have the steps before doing the project. We say preliminary research, something like that. And after the project, they will check the effect and influence of the project. And this is also, they have the report. Okay, so before the project and after the project, they need to check. So like this report is a technical report, and both academic paper, technical report is available in the internet, but you need to be keen attention who produce this paper. For example, this is academicians of the universities. It's gonna be more academic. They are outside, try to stand out of international actors, but they try to be the objectively research about the process and the situation of the development. But technical report is kind of company report, and mostly they are produced by the United Nations, for example, WHO or ADB, JICA report, whatever. And this is a report. And the tendency, what's the difference between this is a next step. Like I don't explain this time because inside of the documents, like it's taking the time to explain. So at the moment, I just explain about how the academicians behave in this case. Here is the academician. Academicians means like who got the degree of the master degree or PhD like me, and but some people don't have the PhD, even becoming the professor in university. Just research about your supervised teacher in the university. You always learn from. He gets the PhD sometimes, but many cases they even don't have the PhD, but becoming the professors. Okay, and this PhD holder is called a doctor. Okay, not say Mr. or Miss. This doctor can have the working in the not only the university, they are working in the United Nations. Okay, United Nations is one of the recruitment places. They get the job in the United Nations and doing the research, writing the technical report or internal report. Okay, they also nowadays the number of the people is getting increased, but in the government ministry also employ the PhD holder academicians, and the US are so many, German are so many, but in Japan it's not so developed very well, so not so many PhDs don't work the government because in Japan, like the people and the society don't respect the doctor. This is the one problem. But if you go out the other nations, you are distinctively treated different, very specially like respected in except Japan. Okay, China also has a huge investment to the develop the PhD. Anyway, I don't talk a lot about these things, but this academician, I just want to let you know, people who working at the university, people who working in the United Nations, and people who working in the NGO as well. Okay, becoming the independent researcher and if the academician it's depending on the interest of academicians what kind of the interests she or he has. For example, have the interest in the international relations. Okay, international relations. They may work in the government and compare the different project or program or behavior against toward the international aids. They compare the different nations. Japanese, for example, Japanese education policy, how it's different in the U.S. policy or German policy, and something like that. They are interested in the macro view of the policy economic, like a macro analysis, for example. And this is a macro. I forgot. I forgot to write down the macro was, but this is also meso in term of between the macro and micro. Okay, and for example, NGO, NPO, local NGO, they are working to implement the policy of the Japanese or Lao government, right? And they sometimes support working with the ministry and visiting the rural area and, for example, reading it up the school and doing opening the workshop, something like that. They try to communicate like bring the benefit to the target population. So they are standing on the between the government and local people, target population, and try to implementing the work. So this is the place of the international development probably because they are supporting, try to support the local people, and also they need to fundraise from the government. So this is a particular domain, and most of the case the researcher gets the information working with the NGO, NPO, even the university professors like education. They get the technical report to figure out the number of and the percentage of, for example, how many students drop out of school or something like that. How much lucrative in the tourism industry? What's the expectation economics growth or something like that? That's related to the macro and meso. Okay. And in the government, they have the policy analyst. Mostly like this policy analyst that I was working in the United Nations, that they give the technical assistance. But I just want to let you know that Laotian people who working in the ministry also doing the research. Okay, so but not foreigners cannot access to this local research because of the language barrier. Okay, United Nations, the academicians, in many cases cannot speak Lao. Okay, Lao language, local language. They only talk, write down in the English or Japanese. Okay, so they have the distance. They try to externally clarify the facts, the observable facts. But the government scholars, there are very few educated people research by themselves and write down some things. So, do you think this is important information, isn't it? Don't you? I'm aware of this problem. So now, like many people, like trying to bridge this gap, but the problem is like expert in the government. Also, they try to write down in English. Okay, so why it is problem to write down the everything in the English? Because there are many things that cannot express the local language in English. This is a translation studies domain, and also anthropologists try to approach that. This is a micro perspective who academicians are researching about the target population. They research is quite different from the academicians working in the macro and meso. Anthropologists like you always go into the community and talk with directly and even living in the same environment. Okay, this is named participatory research or ethnomethodology. Ethnological research is firstly conducted in the father of modern anthropology is a very famous Marinovsky. Before he show up in the history, there are no one try to live with the local people. Okay, no one try to eat the same food with a local target population. But Marinovsky, during the World War, they accidentally drop off the moving course, and he must had lived with the local people. This is the starting of the empirical research. Nowadays, like most of the anthropologists are doing so. So in this anthropology culture, the academicians are supposed to live in the local place at least for 2 years. Okay. Most famous Japanese sociologist Chie Nakane, she insists something like that. Okay, so anthropologists try to clarify the value and language and life of the target population. Okay, and they are side with the people, try to understand their culture and value system and life, give the light from the marginalized population to the meso and macro actors. This is a distinctive approach. My discourse made this reading because anthropology is not only the researchers who clarify about the ethnicity things, but nowadays many anthropologists try to go into the government and go into the particular power dam and a particular company. There also they try to clarify the ecosystem and the structure of the people and the actors. So the distinctive way of the anthropologist is something like they try to enter in the different world. And from the inside, they try to clarify the structure and the mechanism of the particular community and the society. And this is a future of the anthropologist. Anyway, I talked about the kind of easy structure of the academicians, where they are working, but they have different interests and belong to the discipline different discipline because of the limitation of the science methodology, we must focus on particular topic and the concept. This is the cause of the fragmentation. For example, academicians who interested in the education, they only know about the education. They are professional. They are called professional and expert because they only know much about education, and they don't know about tourism because in the tourism sector there are another expert. Also, health, environment, hygiene, sociology, economics. This is a different discipline try to approach. The problem of the academicians that scholars in the expert, they are try to clarify the truth of this world, but they are perspectives are limited because of the science methodology. So this is a problem, the fragmentation for them. Why this is a problem? Because a target population for them, their life is not so fragmented. Okay, the people, for example, the family, they must receive education. They must work in some particular place. They must working on the natural resources, and they need the hygiene, medical service as well, and economics also. They all the factors are very entangled for the life of the person, even you and I as well. In other words, our life is very holistic. So nowadays, like many academicians try to adopt the interdisciplinary approach and multi-sector approach. Not so many good practice and results happening occur. So I talked about the two different documents, academic papers and technical report, who are producing this and where is this coming from.